Hey beautiful people, my name's Kristen. Thank you for stopping by my channel to hear some reviews and some thoughts and some places that I'm just in the middle of in the month of May. It is Mayhem May for me. It has been Misery May for me. But there's been some really good books. So let's talk briefly about the ones that I finished. I was able to get to Night by Elie Wiesel. This is a very short but very powerful account, firsthand really look at someone who went through the prison camps, the horrors of the Nazis against the Jews, looking deeply into the atrocities and the survival. And one of the most powerful lines in here that just really gripped me and kind of stayed with me, it says, "That night the soup tasted like corpses." It's like, those kind of images of just, you can feel the intensity of the desperation and the horror of the situation. So really, really good book that everybody should read, but it's a hard read. It's a good one for Misery May. I also did finish Thomas Hardy's Desperate Remedies. This actually was his first published novel. It is very Hardy-esque in his writing style, in his themes of things fall apart, do not go well for people, they have to struggle, there's these weird connections, and you don't know, you're trying to figure out how people are even connected to one another or why they should be. But what's interesting about this one, it's miserable pretty much all the way through, but then the epilogue, the last chapter, gives it a happy ending, y'all. I don't think that happens in the other Hardy book. If you're looking for a little less misery of Hardy, that could probably do it for you, right? I did have a passage marked out, just if you have not experienced Hardy before. This is the brilliancy. It's like one of those things where he says something opposite the way I would normally explain it. So let me read you just a short little explanation. They were opposite Ringworth shore. The cliffs here were formed of stairs completely contrasting with those of the further side of the bay, whilst in and between, beneath the water's hard boulders had taken the place of sand and shingle, between which, however, the sea glided noiselessly without breaking the cease of a single wave. So strikingly calm was the air. The breeze had entirely died away, leaving the water of that rare glassy smoothness which is unmarked even by small dimples of the least aerial movements. Purples and blues of divers shades were reflected from the mirror accordingly as each undulation sloped east or west. They could see the rocky bottom some 20 feet beneath, luxuriant with weeds of various growths and dotted with pulpy creatures reflecting a silvery and spangled radiance upon to their eyes. At length she looked at him to learn the effect of her words of encouragement. So I love this writing style, right? It like paints a picture, but it is said in a way that I wouldn't normally say things, and that really draws me in and has me deeply picture the things, even more striking than if it had worded it in the order and the adjectives that I would have chosen. So I just really, really enjoy Thomas Hardy. I also finished Walk the Blue Fields. This is Claire Keegan. I didn't realize when I first chose it or picked it up that it was all short stories that were not interconnected. So that became both challenging because I was expecting something else, but then easy because it's like 9 stories and it's not that big of a book. The stories were really good. I'm not totally a huge fan of stories that short because I just love my in-depth character. But since I had never read her and this was my introduction to her writing, I did find it very poetic, very beautiful. It reminds me very, very much of James Joyce's Dubliners, both because they're both set in Ireland and also they focus on one particular kind of nuanced scene or character. So very, if you have read this and liked it, try James Joyce's Dubliners. And if you've read James Joyce's Dubliners, try this, because I liked both of them. I think that it's not an in-depth story, but if you're just looking for little snippets of some reading, you've got a short reading amount of time, it's actually pretty satisfying. I did read Bill Bryson's Shakespeare. This was my nonfiction pick for the month. I got this read, and this, I think I need to do a short on this for Shakespeare's Timber, because this would be brilliant to read alongside a Shakespeare work for Shakespeare's Timber. This is basically a very well researched, well documented account of everything that's actually known and why things are not known about William Shakespeare. And you see how short it is, and that's part of the mystery. So it talks about the mystery, it talks specifically about famous people's dissertations, it talks about how there are over 5,000 books, with more and more all the time being published on William Shakespeare. Why is that? Just really, really fascinating, well written, keeps you engaged and wondering and curious, and you feel like you're talking to a friend who's explaining it to you. So totally recommend that. Now, those are all I've completed, but I hope to be back, and I still have another month in the month of May, or another week, I should say, another week in the month of May. But I'm going on vacation for a couple weeks, so it will be much later in June, but technically I am reading The Winners, Frederik Backman. I'm really enjoying it so far, but going to wait to share my thoughts till I'm done, as well as I've been working my way through Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth. We've got, compared to how big it is, this is still like almost 300 pages, y'all. This is a big boy. So this will be finished in June, but I feel like it counts as a book in May, because I've been keeping up with the reading in May. And so that technically was a book's worth of reading that I did. As well as I am working my way through Steppenwolf, Herman Hesse, with the awesome Buddy Read Well-Traveled Books. I will leave her channel below. We're about halfway in this. Maybe we'll get through it in May. Maybe it'll get pushed into June. I think we will finish in May, though. So I think this technically is a May book. It was supposed to be a May book. It should be a May book, but I'm not going to review it until I am done. The last two books that were on my TBR for May was the nonfiction biography about Thomas Hardy and Wheel of Time, both chunky books. I'm taking these with me on vacation. I should get a significant amount started in May, because again, I've got a week left, but I doubt they'll be finished in May. So these 5 books are going on with me into the end of May / June, and we'll get there. I appreciate you sticking in there with me. But if you've read any of these, or you want to read any of them, leave me a comment below. Always love meeting up with you in the comments. I hope that you have great summer and maybe have some plans and vacations planned. If not, grab a book. It's a great way to escape on an adventure. Very low cost, but very satisfying. Take care, y'all. Have a beautiful, blessed day.